talking down about the NBA because I kind of decided to wear this today. I saw it was the first thing in the closet that I saw, and
it's a Lakers shirt. He's wearing a Lakers shirt. For those of you that can't see,
yes, it is.
For those of you that are listening via your traditional,
why wouldn't I?
Platform.
Because we have settled our future over the weekend. So I thought I'd come out wearing this.
Congratulations to you. All of my college buddies that are Mavs fans are in shambles and have been ever since Saturday night. But here on Locked In, every weekday from 2 to 3, we're talking primarily OU football and recruiting. It has become kind of a common thread that we never really start the show there. It's always just some random thought off the top of my head that for whatever reason we get to first. But for the bulk of our time together for the next hour, we're going to talk OU football and recruiting. And this hour of the show brought to you by the fine folks at Dorsey Jones Buick GMC. Spectacular prices, spectacular staff, half-price oil changes on Saturdays as well. I should have gone and gotten my oil changed out at Dorsey Jones Buick GMC this past Saturday because it occurred to me that I needed to do that this morning, and I spent way more than I probably should have on an oil change. Those can get expensive, folks. Let Dorsey Jones take care of it for you.
That's unfortunate, Parker.
It is what it is. You know, sometimes you take an L, and I did that this morning. Spent more than I should have on an oil change, but, you know, at least now I don't have to worry about it for the next couple of months, at least. So, 405-651-3439 is the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line. And where we should probably start today, Grayson, in all seriousness here, is with the quarterback quandary in the class of 2026 for the University of Oklahoma. They have had a quarterback committed for darn near 8 months now in Jaden O'Neal. 4-star prospect, number 77 overall player in the 2026 class out of Harbor City, California. He's been locked in with Oklahoma since even before he publicly committed. He was peer recruiting for the Sooners before he announced his own commitment. And here we are, February 2025, and he has not wavered. However, that has not stopped Oklahoma from pursuing another quarterback in the 2026 class, that being 4-star Salina, Texas native Bo Bentley. Now, I told you this morning, if you haven't watched both these guys yet, watch them both. Tell me what you think. So, having studied both Jaden O'Neal and Bo Bentley now, and Bo Bentley was on campus this past weekend for his very first unofficial visit to Oklahoma, how do you think those two stack up alongside one another?
Very similarly. They both make NFL throws.
Yes.
They both make tight window throws. They're very, very accurate with the football, and both throw a catchable ball. I like the upside of Bentley's mobility. Mm-hmm. You know, you can call design quarterback runs for him. He can break the pocket. I think he throws better on the run than O'Neal does. O'Neal is just a big dude. Like, I don't know how you're going to get that guy on the ground. 6'3", 215 right now. It's very possible he finishes college at 240 going into the NFL, because that's what – it's very possible he's 6'5", 240 by the end of his collegiate career. And there's a lot of upside there. I like his pocket mobility. I like his pocket understanding. But something about Bentley, man. His arm is so electric, man. Just watching that. I don't know if this is your comp for him. I know you said you had a comp for him in mind.
I do.
He reminds me a lot of Josh Allen, man.
Josh Allen, huh?
The arm motion, the way he throws on the run, the look and the trajectory of his deep ball. I thought Patrick Mahomes a little bit at first, but I think he's got more calm feet in the pocket than Mahomes. I think mechanically he's better right now than Mahomes was at this particular point in his career. But, oh boy.
All right,
both
there you have it, folks.
Both are going to be good.
Bo Bentley, future NFL Hall of Famer, according to Grayson Singleton.
Okay, now let's pump the brakes here.
Went straight to the NFL Hall of Famer comps. So my comp is a little bit more of a familiar one.
Okay.
Because, and I don't know whether some folks are going to love this, but in watching Bo Bentley's tape, it's strikingly similar to Jackson Arnold's high school tape.
Okay.
at Denton Guyer.
Oh, you were going to go there.
Strikingly
Okay.
similar. Yeah.
I had the same feeling.
He's similar in stature. Very similar as far as the mobility aspect of things. The throwing mechanics are similar as well. And what made Jackson Arnold such a playmaker in high school, what really helped set his game apart, is exactly the same thing that helps Bo Bentley's game, or it really has helped him to elevate his game to blue chip status in the 2026 class, which is the ability to throw accurately on the run. He is just as accurate on the run as he is standing still in the pocket. And so maybe that's not going to be the most popular or well-received comparison because we know what Jackson Arnold did, or perhaps more accurately didn't do, during his brief tenure as the starter at Oklahoma. But Jackson Arnold was also a 5-star prospect coming out of high school. And he's still got 2 years of college ball ahead of him to turn things around and to make his mark as an Auburn Tiger. I think he will. But in watching Bo Bentley, man, it's getting a lot of Jackson Arnold vibes. And what's important to understand here is that Ben Arbuckle inherited Jaden O'Neal. Now, it's not to say he doesn't want Jaden O'Neal. It's not to say that Jaden O'Neal is a square peg in a round hole with Arbuckle's offense. But when you watch the way that Bentley plays, it's very clear why Arbuckle handpicked him. Why he was the first, and thus far only 2026 offer at the quarterback position during Arbuckle's time at Oklahoma. Since Jaden O'Neal committed back in July, the Oklahoma staff, regardless of who it's been, that's the OC at the moment, since Jaden O'Neal committed last July, Bo Bentley is the only 2026 quarterback that Oklahoma has offered. And I think the reasons are twofold. One being, he fits the offense very seamlessly. He is what you imagine a Ben Arbuckle quarterback to look like. I mean, there's a lot of obvious similarity to John Mateer as well. I think Bentley has better arm talent than John Mateer. But besides the scheme fit aspect of things, you also have to consider that Bentley is a lifelong Oklahoma fan. He and his family, diehard OU people. And so if you want to build depth in the quarterback room, and you want to be able to take two in the same class, you have to have two guys. You have to have two guys that are not going to be scared off or warded away by the presence of competition at their position. You had two in the 2024 class. It was the first time since, I believe, 2006 that Oklahoma had taken two quarterbacks in the same class. Back in 2006, they took Sam Bradford and Joey Halsley. Both of those guys did all right for themselves. Bradford wound up a Heisman winner, first-round NFL draft pick. These days, Joey Halsley is the offensive coordinator at the University of Tennessee. So he didn't make quite as much money as Sam Bradford, but he's doing okay. In 2024, Oklahoma got Michael Hawkins and Brendan Zurbrugg on board in the same class. Hawkins, very, very similar to Bentley. Well, and we don't know what the outcome of Bentley's recruitment is going to be. We don't know if he's going to commit to Oklahoma. We don't know if he's going to sign with Oklahoma. But Hawkins' big thing was, I want to play for OU. I want to be great at OU. Being at OU, being a Sooner, matters to me. It's important to me. It's important to my family. He chose Oklahoma over TCU in the end. And for Zurbrugg, he loved the opportunity, the chance to make his mark and write his legacy at such a prestigious school as the University of Oklahoma, because his dad backed up Jim Harbaugh back in the day at Michigan. So his dad was part of some pretty good Michigan football teams back in the 80s. And, of course, the football prestige at the University of Michigan is significant. And you grow up in that area. He's from Alliance, Ohio. Michigan is one of those schools that's a destination for you. And so for a kid that at the time that Oklahoma offered was committed to Northwestern, he loved the idea of going to another blue blood institution and having a chance to be great in a uniform and for a brand that matters in the landscape of college football. And so you got the two right guys in that group. Zurbrugg obviously didn't last. He transferred to Utah. There were reasons for that. I think it was kind of a mutual parting of ways. In the 2026 class, though, look, odds are if you were to take two quarterbacks, bring in two quarterbacks, Grayson, odds are one of them isn't finishing their career at Oklahoma. It's just a question of which one. And so if it comes down to it, seeing what you've seen from those two on film, what do you think the nature of that competition would look like between the two? Who would have the upper hand?
Well, first of all, let's say this, first of all. The whole diehard OU fan, grow up an OU fan, wants to be an OU fan, I feel like we got to put a cap on that. I feel like, yes, they could want to be there, but also these are dudes that have worked their ass off to get to where they are now. They're going to work their ass off anywhere they go.
Yep.
So I don't really know. I get that it's relevant, but in the same breath, it doesn't really mean it's going to translate into big success because they always wanted to go to the University of Oklahoma. So I would go with that. I don't think you're going to go wrong, and this is going to be a cop out. I don't think you're going to go wrong with either one. I really, really don't. Now, if you value a quarterback who is bigger in stature and can do some of the things like, say, Cam Newton could do when he was at Auburn, then obviously you go with Jaden O'Neal. He's right now 6'3", 215. Bo Bentley, though, I think is a wild card. I think he is, when I see quarterbacks that play like that, it reminds me of the draft discussion around Zach Wilson coming out of BYU. He can make all the off-platform throws. He can play off schedule. He's pretty good in structure, too. Don't get me wrong about that. He's a very accurate thrower. I think Bentley has a higher ceiling, but I also think he's got a lower floor than Jaden O'Neal. I think I know what Jaden O'Neal's going to be given his measurables so far. I think it's more of a predictable. There's more of a predictable outcome there when it comes to Jaden O'Neal. Whereas the way Bentley plays, it can be either one. Now, O'Neal's got to clean up his accuracy. He only completed 61% of his passes in his junior year. So that's a little bit of a concern. But when he's on, he throws a very accurate ball. So if you ask me right now, I like Bentley more given the upside. But there's texters already that have said, give me Jaden O'Neal. I don't think you're wrong there. But I'm going to go with the guy from Salina right now if it was up to me.
To your point, Junkie Chuck on the text line says, I love Jaden O'Neal. Give me Jaden O'Neal. Can't go wrong with Jaden O'Neal. I really like his pocket presence, and I hope he stays because I could easily see him being a C.J. Stroud, Drake May kind of guy.
Agreed. 1,000% agreed. And what those guys have is they've got unexplained and unexpected mobility, too. Those guys can move around. We didn't think C.J. Stroud could run it. Then that Georgia game came, and you're like, oh, he actually can move. And I think Jaden O'Neal possesses that same type of skill set, but his play type is he wants to beat you from the pocket. That's what he wants to do, but he can move if need be. So I like the comp.
He's got incredible arm talent.
Yes.
I mean, that's what sets Jaden O'Neal's game apart, is the arm talent. He has one of the strongest arms, if not the outright strongest arm in the entire 2026 class. It is an absolute cannon. And so if that's what you like at the quarterback position, then shoot, that's your guy. If you like more of a modern quarterback prospect, somebody who can run around, do stuff off script, make those off-platform throws, create on the run, hurt you with his legs, then Bo Bentley is your man. It's different strokes for different folks, Grayson, no diddy. But that's where we're at between these two. Jaden O'Neal, Bo Bentley, both fantastic prospects. And there's a decent, here's kind of where I stand on it. I think there's a decent chance Oklahoma gets them both committed at a certain point. I don't know if I believe there's a world in which they would both sign with Oklahoma.
And I agree with you, too.
And
they're going to have to pick one.
Yeah, and that's not necessarily because they're going to back down from the challenge or back off from the smoke. I think it's going to have more to do with the fact that there are going to be other schools that get in those two's ears and tell them, hey, really? You want to go somewhere where you're not the guy? You want to go somewhere where they feel the need to recruit another quarterback? Hey, we got this check earmarked for you. You can be our guy in the 26 class at quarterback. No questions asked. We'll take you right now, and you don't have to worry about trying to battle it out with another guy that the program feels they have to have because they're not 100% confident in you. That's how other schools are going to approach things with Bo Bentley and Jaden O'Neal. Regardless of whether Bentley ends up committing to Oklahoma at any point, regardless of whether Oklahoma at some point has both of those two locked in, I guarantee you both of them are going to continue to get calls and be actively recruited by other programs.
And let me add this before we get out of here. There also is the money allocation part of this conversation, too. You just paid John Mateer a boatload of money. You're probably paying Michael Hawkins a pretty good chunk of money.
Yes, they are.
Jaden O'Neal's a guy from California who is a highly touted recruit. You're going to have to pay him a lot of money to come here. Bo Bentley just got an offer from Ohio State. That in and of itself will drive the price up. So now you're talking about 4 quarterbacks on your roster who are going to make a pretty penny. Do you want to do that? And the second part to that question is that smart? And that's one of the reasons I don't think they're going to take both.
If you got 4 high-value quarterbacks on your roster at once, yep, it takes a chunk out of the pool for all of the other positions.
When you're working with budgetary constraints, that just isn't the wise thing to do.
Mm-hmm. And quarterback is the most important position on the field. No doubt about that. You got to have at least one high-value guy that you can rely on, but to have 4, is that a luxury that you can afford? Several of you have weighed in via the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, so we'll get to that on the other side. I see your text, Recruiting Boomer. I see it. We're getting there. We will get to that. We will get to other opinions on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line as we continue diving into the visits this past weekend at the University of Oklahoma and all things OU football and recruiting here on Locked In. Parker Thune, Grayson, Singleton here with you. Keep it right here. We'll be back.
Nobody covers your team like the Ref. If it's Sooner news and talk you want, it's right here all season long. This is your home for Sooner fans, the Ref Radio Sports Network, KREF.com, and worldwide on the KREF app.
Fowler Automotive is proud to be a part of your community, where our passion and values lie far beyond the showroom. We believe that families, sports, art, and culture are at the heart of every thriving community, and it's important to us that we help build the communities that our dealerships call home. Stop by any of our 6 Oklahoma dealerships to see the Fowler Standard hard at work. We pride ourselves on being friendly, helpful, honest, and fair. This is what drives us every day. Fowler Automotive, a proud partner of OU Athletics.
Considering refinancing your mortgage? Now might be the perfect time to start planning. With rates on the move, Stride Bank can help you determine if you may be able to lower your monthly payments, shorten your loan term, or tap into your home's equity. Stride's expert mortgage advisors will work with you to tailor a solution that fits your needs. With local roots and national reach, Stride Bank is your go-to partner for all your banking needs. Stride Bank, your trusted financial partner since 1913. Find out more at stridebank.com. Stride Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
How is your drive to school?
Let me tell you. I had to get my iced coffee first. I just can't seem to put it down. My favorite rapper just announced a tour. My phone was buzzing like crazy. I'm so excited. I had to text all my friends right then to talk about it. Then, someone started calling me and...
Let's try that again.
I turned my phone off right away. I never drive distracted.
Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A message brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, Project Yellow Light, and the Ad Council.
Tired of your current living situation? Now is the best time to make a move. Interest rates are dropping and Home Creations is offering the best financing around with rates as low as 3.625%. This will save you hundreds per month on your brand new Home Creations home. Live like a champion today by calling Holly at 405-364-9999 for full details.
364-9999. Home Creations.
APR 6.508%.
Mike Steele here for Lasher Home Comfort Systems, your trusted home comfort experts in the Oklahoma City metro area. Tim Lasher and his team have more than 130 years of combined experience. They recognize a significant number of homeowners live with inadequate home comfort systems. They specialize in diagnosing your home system issues while providing more efficiency and reducing your utility costs. As an authorized dealer of American Standard, Tim can service your residence or business. Call Tim and his team at 405-579-3113. Lasher Home Comfort Systems.
Hi everybody, Toby Rowland here. And are you and your family looking for a place to golf in 2025? The Trails Golf Club in Norman is perfect for you. The Trails give you the opportunity for you and your family to spend quality time together by playing golf, enjoying the pool in the summertime, along with many family fun-filled activities around holidays. Plus, one of the best restaurants in town. Now is the perfect time to join the Trails. Contact Zane Alexander today at 405-360-3790 or visit trailsgolf.com.
The six-time national champion OU women's gymnastics team continue their 2025 season with an exciting SEC matchup against the Kentucky Wildcats. Friday, February 7th at 7:15 p.m. Enjoy the best gymnastics in the country while winning incredible prizes throughout the night as we transform the LNC into your favorite game shows. Visit Soonersports.com/tickets to secure your seats now, and we'll see you for Friday Night Heights on February 7th. Boomer Sooner.
Good lighting is an absolute necessity these days, but not all lights are created equal. Did you know that you can reduce the energy consumption of a light fixture by up to 85% by converting to LED? Sounds like a great opportunity, but finding the right LED product isn't always easy. At Wade Electric, they have the knowledge and experience to provide an LED conversion that will save you money and stand the test of time. Whether in your home or office, get the right money-saving LED product the first time and call Wade Electric today at 405-329-1940 to receive a free estimate.
If you don't know, now you know. We are streaming on YouTube every single day, in addition to being available on your radio dial and the KREF app. Parker Thune, Grayson, Singleton here with you on Locked In. Check us out on YouTube by just typing KREF Sports into your search bar. That's where you will be able to find us. And there was a listener in the YouTube chat that asked, does Bo Bentley have any other big-time offers? Major blue blood, high-tier offers. Well, it depends on what you consider major blue blood, but I'll run you through some of his more notable offers. He has Florida State. He has UCF. He has Wisconsin. He has Ohio State. And, get ready to wince, he has an offer from Missouri as well, in addition to Oklahoma. That offer list ought to continue to grow larger. Very impressive prospect, and a guy that had a really strong performance at the Navy All-American game, or All-American Bowl, excuse me, back in January. That really helped catapult him onto the national radar. So that's where things are at for Bo Bentley, the quarterback out of Salina, Texas. Oklahoma heavily involved there, got him on campus this weekend. No, he did not commit. No, it does not seem anything is imminent there. But the Sooners continue to be heavily in the mix for Bentley as he continues to pick up more and more offers. Two recruiting boomers text, since he was very upset that we didn't get to it last segment. He said, "We hear that die-hard OU crap all the time. I'm done with the supposed diehards. Remember Caden Green." Okay, anecdotal evidence. Yes, Caden Green was a die-hard OU guy that turned his back on the institution. Really, that whole situation had a lot less to do with him and a lot more to do with the people in his circle, as I've come to understand it. But for every Caden Green, I would say you have at least 5 or 10 Ethan Downses, for instance. Gentry Williams. Michael Hawkins, whom we talked about last segment. There are plenty of guys, especially across the region, that grow up dreaming to play in the Crimson and Green, playing for the University of Oklahoma, and the guys to whom it means something, man, you typically get a little bit extra out of those dudes. Not in every case, and maybe not to the point where they're considered superstars, but Ethan Downs is a great example of a guy that was just the model Sooner in so many ways, because even though he was 6'4", with some speed and some strength and had a lot of natural ability, he wasn't anybody, especially coming out of high school, that would have been regarded as a can't-miss prospect. He actually had a minus wingspan. His arms are not very long. And that was the knock on him coming out of Weatherford, Oklahoma, a 4A school. Is really, is this going to translate? Is he going to be able to just ragdoll dudes at the Power 4 level like he did at Weatherford? But Ethan Downs, man, what you saw over the course of the time that he was at Oklahoma is he just got better and better and better and better. And it was never like a meteoric improvement. Oh, my goodness, this is a completely different Ethan Downs than the Ethan Downs we saw a month ago or a year ago. It was just steady, continuous improvement. Because wearing that uniform meant something to him. And he wanted to be great for the University of Oklahoma and at the University of Oklahoma. And really all you can ask of a guy, and what you would hope is true of every single player that you recruit, is that they are better players as seniors than they were as freshmen. And that seems like a basic thing, Grayson, but I could rattle off several examples of guys that just hit a plateau at a certain point and didn't get any better. I think maybe the best case study that illustrates how far Oklahoma has come defensively in the last 5 years is Woody Washington. Because in 2020, as a redshirt freshman, Woody Washington was OU's best cornerback. He was sensational. Everybody that, and he didn't even break into the starting lineup until midway through the season, but once he did, the OU fan base collectively went, oh, okay, we got something here in Woody Washington. This dude's a stud. And he certainly looked like it for a Big 12 defense at the University of Oklahoma.
Did that have more to say about the rest of the corner room?
Exactly. And that's kind of where I'm going with it. Fast forward 4 years, 2024 rolls around. Woody Washington is a sixth-year senior, Grayson. He has not gotten any worse, but it doesn't seem he's gotten substantially better. And whereas he was your lockdown option, like your A1, your top cornerback in 2020, you fast forward to 2024, and he's a rotational guy who's playing some corner, playing some cheetah, repping here, repping there. Same player, same caliber of player at that point as he was 4 years prior. But the rest of the defense had not only caught up to him, but risen above his level. Woody Washington was a good player in the Big 12. He was an average player in the SEC. And so I say that to illustrate 2 points. One, guys don't always get better year over year. That doesn't always happen. Some guys hit their ceiling, and they are what they are. Great example, another one from recent years, Justin Broyles. Justin Broyles probably hit his ceiling in high school because he was a top 100 player in the country as a prospect, and he gets to Oklahoma, and he was just kind of there for 6 years. Made a few plays. Never really took that jump that everybody imagined and hoped that he would take. So for one thing, guys don't always make that jump. But also, if you've been watching Woody Washington for the last 5 years at Oklahoma, what you've seen is that he has never really changed as a player. But as the years have gone on, he's been less and less of a big-ticket dude in that defensive starting 11 because the average caliber of the player around him has steadily risen. You just think about the last 2 years, for instance. You go back to 2022. Oklahoma was starting Jeffrey Johnson at defensive tackle, David Agwebu at linebacker, Trey Morrison at safety, Jaden Davis at cornerback. All decent players, right? But decent doesn't cut it in the SEC. And you fast forward to 2024, and those spots are occupied by Robert Spears Jennings and Dominic Williams and Kip Lewis and Gentry Williams before he got hurt, Eli Bowen after Gentry got hurt. OU's gotten steadily better on defense when you're just considering the average, what the average player in that starting 11 looks like. So things, in a general sense, I believe are headed in the right direction. But what you hope for everybody that you roster, especially on the defensive side of the ball, especially those guys that are coming in to learn Brent Venables' scheme and excel in it, is that they're just getting better and better and better year over year. Recruiting Boomer said, Woody hit his peak as a sophomore. I couldn't wait for him to graduate. He took his sweet time, man. And I'll always respect Woody Washington for that, man. Because I'll tell you this much. He gave a ton of thought to entering the NFL draft after his redshirt sophomore season in 2021. And then decided to run it back in 2022. Thought about the draft again. Decided to run it back in 2023. Thought about the draft again. Finally decided, you know what? I'm going to exhaust my eligibility. I'm going to play 6 whole years at the University of Oklahoma. And he did.
And you think probably his best year to get drafted was after that redshirt sophomore year.
It may very well have been. It may very well have been. Tattoo Baker asks, is Jaden O'Neal better than Caleb? Caleb Williams?
Hell no.
Certainly not.
No.
No.
I don't even think he's a better prospect than Spencer Rattler was.
I'd probably agree. Like, Spencer Rattler as a prospect, oh my goodness, man. And this is why, like, I truly do believe that if Spencer Rattler gets in the right situation at the NFL level, he'll make himself a lot of money.
I do too.
Because that dude's arm talent is virtually unrivaled.
I thought he was the wild card in the draft last year.
Mm-hmm. I was surprised he lasted till the 5th round?
Yeah. I was
somebody to take a flyer on him before then, but maybe it works for him in New Orleans, especially if they get Kellen Moore as their head coach, which looks like it's happening.
Yes.
Krabby Sooner says, Michael Hawkins going to be standing on the sideline for the next 2 years if Mateer comes back. So then what? Will he even still be there? And here's the thing about that whole subjective conversation, Krabby Sooner, is that it's so far down the road you can't really figure. Because, for instance, you're assuming that John Mateer comes back for a second season at Oklahoma. That may not be true. He may make the jump to the NFL. What if John Mateer is just bad? What if John Mateer is bad like Jackson Arnold was? What if he gets benched for Michael Hawkins? Like, what I'm trying to say here is that there is so much that could transpire that we just simply can't know or quantify between now and the time that conversation would be a relevant one, that I would only be speculating if I told you, yeah, he's still going to be around, or no, he'll probably transfer. Either may come to fruition, but I also think that's why you at least try and double up in the 2026 cycle, is that you give yourself depth in the event that you lose a guy to the NFL a year early in Mateer's case, or perhaps the transfer portal in Michael Hawkins and or Jet New's case.
And here's the things you have to realize, and I'm glad you went back to the Jet New recruitment too, which was the first thing that Ben Arbuckle did on the job. Mm-hmm. You've got to tread very carefully here, because if, say, John Mateer does perform well, but not to the level where he's a big-time NFL prospect, he will be back in 2026, assuming the team does enough winning and the staff isn't purged. So now Michael Hawkins is looking at going into year 3. Also keep in mind, Jaden O'Neal and or Bo Bentley might think, oh, I'm going into my sophomore year, I should be able to start. This whole thing could combust really, really easily, and then you've got the wild card of Jet New, which further illustrates the point why you and I both think that both Jaden O'Neal and Bo Bentley, both of whom will not sign. We're in the same boat there, that you're probably only going to get one of those two. So, in terms of how you manage this, I think you have to manage it with the expectation that you're going to lose somebody. Mm-hmm. Because all 4 of these guys, Mateer, New, Hawkins, Bentley, or I guess we can take Mateer out because he's already here, but New, Bentley, Hawkins, O'Neal, you're going to lose at minimum 1, just because they're all too good to just be sitting around.
Exactly. And Florida Sooner with a great text on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, 405-651-3439. With NIL and the transfer portal, it's silly to look at any player beyond 1 year in the future. And I think that's a great way of conceptualizing it.
Yep.
Because, for instance, in August, How many of y'all were on the text line asking, well, is Michael Hawkins really going to sit for 2 years behind Jackson Arnold?
Oops.
Jackson Arnold was only on campus for another 4 months thereafter.
Oops.
But no one could have foreseen that, right? No one could have foreseen what happened in the 2024 season and how it all unfolded. And so, yes, Florida Sooner, you're exactly right. Given the landscape of college football as it stands today with NIL and the transfer portal, we should not be entertaining serious conversations about whether or not Michael Hawkins, or anyone else for that matter, is still on the roster come 2027. Because it's impossible to project that far out. Absolutely impossible. Think about what Oklahoma's quarterback room looked like 2 years ago at this point. Dylan Gabriel, Jackson Arnold, Davis Bevel, General Booty. None of those 4 guys are still around. None of those 4 guys are still around.
And 2 of them probably shouldn't be.
Correct. Keep filling it up on the Knippelmeyer Chevrolet text line, 405-651-3439. So Nate Dryland got hired. Wes Goodwin got hired. Both of them jumping on board as the newest additions to Oklahoma's defensive staff. What does that mean in a recruiting sense? We'll dive into that and more on the other side. Keep it here on Locked In. You're listening to The Ref, the home of Sooner fans.
The word is spreading, and the Ref Army is growing. Keep telling your friends and family that there's only one station for true Sooner fans, and that's the Ref Radio Sports Network, and worldwide on the KREF app.
Fall in love with OKC's favorite casino.
Because at Riverwind, we've got it all.
Grab a bite at one of our many restaurants.
Or sip and spin at our high stakes area.
And the Showplace Theater at Riverwind is the hottest spot for live music.
Shoot your shot at our $80,000 Cupid's Quest giveaway.
For the best gaming and unforgettable entertainment,
it's gotta be Riverwind.
Hi everybody, Toby Rowland here. And are you and your family looking for a place to golf in 2025? The Trails Golf Club in Norman is perfect for you. The Trails give you the opportunity for you and your family to spend quality time together by playing golf, enjoying the pool in the summertime, along with many family fun-filled activities around holidays. Plus, one of the best restaurants in town. Now is the perfect time to join the Trails. Contact Zane Alexander today at 405-360-3790 or visit trailsgolf.com.
Coach Stoops here. Join me every week on The Ref, the home of Sooner fans. Monday morning at 7:45, I'll join the voice of the Sooners, Toby Rowland, and TJ Perry for the Stoops Review. We'll break down all the action from the weekend, and on Thursday afternoons at 4:45 with Teddy and Tyler on The Rush as we get you ready for the weekend slate. It's the best time of year, and you can find me exclusively on The Ref. Download the KREF app today so you listen from anywhere in the world.
Looking for a better way to bank? Join OU Federal Credit Union and experience the difference. If you are tired of hidden fees and impersonal service at your big bank, well, you deserve better, and that's what you'll find at OU Federal Credit Union. They offer competitive rates on loans and savings accounts. Plus, they're a local member-owned institution. Join OU Federal Credit Union today and discover the benefits of being a part of a community that cares. Visit OUFCU.com or stop by the branches today. Member savings insured up to $250,000 by NCUA.
We all play a role in keeping our communities safe. Oklahoma is no stranger to attacks. It's now easier than ever. If you see something, say something. The free and anonymous Protect OK app allows instant reporting of suspicious activity, both in schools and the community. You can help keep your family and friends safe. Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Protect OK.
Download the Protect OK app today in the Apple App or Google Play stores. Funded by the Oklahoma Office of Homeland Security.
At Confidence Ford of Norman, we believe in living up to our name. Our commitment to confidence is in everything we do. Whether you're searching for the perfect vehicle from our extensive selection of new Ford models or pre-owned cars, our dedicated team will help you every step of the way. Because with us, you're family. We're conveniently located at 825 North Interstate Drive. Confidence Ford of Norman, a Cavender Auto family dealership where confidence is Cavender.
Good lighting is an absolute necessity these days, but not all lights are created equal. Did you know that you can reduce the energy consumption of a light fixture by up to 85% by converting to LED? Sounds like a great opportunity, but finding the right LED product isn't always easy. At Wade Electric, they have the knowledge and experience to provide an LED conversion that will save you money and stand the test of time. Whether in your home or office, get the right money-saving LED product the first time and call Wade Electric today at 405-329-1940 to receive a free estimate.
My son Ian was diagnosed with a brain tumor at the age of 16 months. We had no hope until St. Jude rescued us. He's alive because of what St. Jude has done. He's here because of the doctors who came before, their blood, their sweat, their tears, the knowledge accumulated and shared, with everyone else around the world. This is how we help kids beat cancer all over.
Finding cures, saving children. Learn more at stjude.org.
Locked In is the show. The Ref Sports Radio Network is the station. I am Parker Thune. I'm alongside Grayson Singleton. This is what we're doing with all of you that tune in every single day here for Locked In from 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock Central Time. Talking OU football and recruiting. Thanks to those of you that check in via the KREF app. Thanks to those of you that check in via the YouTube stream, which has just been up and running for about the last month or so here on Locked In, but has seen some pretty good interaction. That is certainly the case once again today. Many still weighing in on the whole should OU even have a spring game because of the portal conversation, based on, of course, the comments by Nebraska head coach Matt Rule.
What was your stance on that?
If you don't want to have to worry about that, just don't televise the spring game.
Smart.
Yeah. I mean, that's the easiest, simplest way to deal with it. My recommendation was actually turn the spring game into an NIL function where...
Oh, yeah, easy.
In order to obtain a ticket, you have to make a donation of a certain amount to the university's NIL fund, and that's the only way to get access to the spring game, is to be there in person. Can't watch it on TV. You're either there or you're not.
That's
my
idea.
suggestion.
I like that idea. There needs to be an NIL component to it. I think this is just me adventurous thinking here.
Okay.
Do you think that the spring game could serve as a risk because of the spring portal? You got guys that are kind of learning the system a little bit, and they might have caught on to some of the terminology, some of the lingo, some of the looks that obviously you're not going to show your best stuff, but some of the tendencies and whatnot. And then they go off to another school, maybe a competitor.
Mm-hmm.
So I think with today's frequent movement, because the NFL doesn't have this problem, you can't really switch teams.
No, you can't.
Willy-nilly after a training camp or something like that.
Under contract.
Exactly. Unless they cut you, obviously. But I feel like that has to come into play, too. And I think the spring game is going to be one of those things that gets watered down and ultimately maybe eliminated for reasons like that.
Tommy says, that's horse poop emoji. We fans freaking give enough already. Yeah, Tommy, what I'm saying is, just make that the price of admission.
Yes.
So instead of buying a spring game ticket, you make a donation to One Oklahoma, for instance, and then it auto-generates your spring game ticket. That's how you obtain access. I'm not saying give any more necessarily. I'm just saying change the way in which fans obtain tickets. Frisco Sooner on the text line says, my biggest fear is Texas gets Bo Bentley. I just think he's a winner and would not bet against that kid. Texas already has a 2026 quarterback commit, and unfortunately, he's a really good one. Dia Bell is his name. He's from the state of Florida. His dad is former NBA swingman Raja Bell.
Really?
Yes. You remember Raja Bell?
I do remember. That's my early childhood, but yes, I remember Raja Bell.
Uh-huh. His son's committed to play quarterback at Texas.
Interesting.
And he is dang good.
Is he really?
Yes. Big, too, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
His dad was, 6'7"?
Yeah.
So I think D is like 6'4". Ardmore Sooner says, back to the Hawkins conversation real quick. I hope Mateer is really good because I don't think Hawkins has the juice. Great athlete, just don't see him leading us to winning football. But maybe it was the former offensive coaches. For example, I'm still salty about that terrible play call to have Hawk, the fastest guy on the field, stay in the pocket against Navy on the 2-point conversion to end the game. Criminal. Yeah, look, there was a lot of borderline coaching malpractice happening last year.
Borderline?
Yes, borderline. The issue was remedied midseason. The biggest issue, I should say, was remedied midseason. I would imagine Hawkins is going to be a little bit more comfortable in Ben Arbuckle's offense. But as we switch gears here, switch sides of the football, Grayson, let me pay off the tease because it was officially announced over the weekend that Nate Dreiling has been hired as Oklahoma's inside linebackers coach. Wait. Is it linebackers? What's the exact title? It's something that specifies, it's like broad, but also with a specific focus. So I can't remember whether he was like linebackers coach / inside linebackers or just inside linebackers coach. I do remember Wes Goodwin's title because it's an interesting one. Assistant linebackers coach / outside linebackers. So here's what that means, Grayson. And I kind of laid this out in the 1 o'clock hour as well.
Mm-hmm.
He's not going to be among the 11 countable coaches. Wes Goodwin's role is what would have traditionally been considered an analyst role, a support staff role. Nate Dreiling is Oklahoma's 11th countable on-field coach. Wes Goodwin is kind of a bonus coach, if you will, where because the NCAA passed the ruling last year where you no longer have limitations on how many analysts and GAs and the like can be coaching on the field during practice, that really makes the whole 11 countable coaches conversation a moot point with anything outside of recruiting, because the rules stipulate that you can only have 11 coaches out on the road recruiting,
right?
Which in the past has been the way to distinguish staff from support staff, if you will. It's your 11 on-field coaches are the ones recruiting. Everybody else is just there in a support capacity. But now you can theoretically, I mean, if you want to have 50 coaches coaching on the practice field, you can have 50 coaches coaching on the practice field. It remains the case, though, that you can only have 11 that are actually out there recruiting when the time comes to do that. Making visits, evaluating in person, meeting with prospects in person, all of that good stuff. You're still capped at 11. And so the 11th for Oklahoma up until this point had been J.P. Lossman, the director of defensive player personnel, that was making the trips in lieu of Zach Alley, who obviously vacated his role in December as the 11th countable coach on OU staff. Now Nate Dreiling is the one that's going to step into that role. And I find it interesting to consider what this may look like from a recruiting standpoint for Oklahoma and what Dreiling's preference is going to be as to what type of linebacker he wants, where he wants to get those linebackers. I am of the opinion, Grayson, that you can stay within the Midwest and find some really outstanding linebacker talent. You don't have to leave the Central Time Zone. And so I know they just offered Nick Abrams from the state of Maryland. They just offered Bo Jandro from the state of Arizona last night. And that's all fine and well. I'm not saying back off those guys. But if you look at the schools across the Midwest and schools that typically produce linebackers at a pretty high clip and have guys that are standout college players at that position, Kansas State does an awesome job with it.
Oh, no doubt.
Nebraska has had some great linebackers in years gone by, none quite as good as Tampa Bay Buccaneer Levante David.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa has been a consistent producer of NFL linebackers. Iowa State will have a guy or two every now and again.
Wisconsin
very much in that conversation as well. And so they all recruit the Central Time Zone.
Yeah.
They're all, I mean, they don't have quite the brand that Oklahoma did. Maybe Nebraska in years gone by to an extent had a similar situation, but Oklahoma has a more nationwide brand than any of those schools. Even so, I don't think you need to be going to the ends of the earth to find linebacker talent when typically every single year you're going to find plenty of OU caliber dudes that are within a 400, 500-mile radius.
Easy. I mean, you telling me you can't go to Dallas and find a linebacker? Can't go to Houston, Chicago?
Exactly.
They're everywhere. You want a dude that's hard-nosed, tough, maybe grew up in the cold? Go up to the Dakotas. You'll probably find some talent there, especially in the portal.
No doubt.
Some guys looking to upgrade from an FCS school. Go there. Yeah, you don't need to go. I know a lot of linebacker talent comes out of Florida and that area, but you don't got to go all the way over there.
And here's where the addition of Nate Dreiling gets interesting, is that he's a Midwest dude from the state of Kansas, played college ball in the state of Kansas, coached in the state of Kansas. And so now he comes back to Oklahoma, a school that has recruited that vicinity heavily in the past, although they've made more of an effort to back out of it in the last couple of cycles. I think a lot of that has to do with the Caden Green fiasco and the bridges that were burned in the process in the Kansas City area. But I wonder if Nate Dreiling's addition means that Oklahoma becomes more of a consistent presence back in the KC Metro, for instance, or up in Iowa, where there actually is a pretty solid concentration of Power 4 football players every single year. You don't think of Iowa as being one of those types of states, but you take the time to go recruit up in Iowa, there are dudes every single year.
Where do you think Kirk Ferentz is getting all these dudes?
That's what I'm saying, man. And unfortunately, like, a lot of those dudes they dream of playing for the Hawkeyes. And so they get that offer, they're
right,
done.
It's the only thing there.
Yeah, they're done. I mean, they're committing. Forget about it, right? Iowa, every single cycle, picks up probably 5 or 6 on average super, super early commits from in-state dudes that just grew up watching Iowa football and they want to play Iowa football.
Oh, yeah.
So they get the offer as sophomores, and they're through. You can find some of those guys, for instance, and convince them that they look better in crimson and cream than black and gold. Might have something. 2026 is where Oklahoma has to reload at linebacker. We've talked about that. And that'll be the task with which Nate Dreiling is entrusted. Grayson, been fun as always.
See you, man.
We will be back, same time, same place, tomorrow, kicking off another installment of Locked In at 2 p.m. Coming up next, Tyler McComas and the Buckus Award winner Teddy Lehman take you the rest of the way on The Rush. Keep it here.